Welcome to Dance Uncorked podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay Jean, and today I am joined by fellow dance instructor, local dance artist, choreographer, dance company director, Nate Boozer.
What's up? How's it going?
Thank you for joining me today.
Yes.
We have a great episode ahead of us, but before we get started with all the dance things, we need to talk about what we are sipping on today. And I'm really excited about our little beverage today because it's bubbles, which sparkling wine. One of my favorite things. I love anything bubbles when it comes to wine or cocktails or anything like that. And what's really special about this is that it's a mini Brut. So it's tiny. It's little. And it is a local beverage as well. So this is coming from Hayworth Estate Wines right here in Coburg, Oregon. Have you ever heard of them?
I actually haven't before getting this bottle. So
yeah,
it's nice to find out another place to go that's local. So
yes, it is one of the cutest tasting rooms here in town, I think. So it's about 15 minutes up I-5 from the Eugene, Springfield area. And it's a beautiful little tasting room. Keely and Russ are the owners, Keely and Russ Hayworth, and they opened Hayworth Wine Bar like in 2020, like right at the top of COVID. Like they've done it all. I feel like what a time to open a business. So they opened this little tasting room, and it's right in the entry of downtown Coburg. In that like inn where there's apartments upstairs, and the Blue Valley Bistro is downstairs. And
I've been there. Totally.
Yeah.
I totally know what you're talking about now. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's Hayworth. That's Hayworth Estate Wines. And this is where this comes from. And they've recently expanded their space. So their space is actually bigger now. So if you haven't been in a while, you should go, because oh my gosh, that second space, it's really music venue friendly. So because they love having musicians at their tasting room. They have them, I would say, like 2 every week at least. Like they're bringing good musicians, local musicians in. So this new space is kind of catering to that so that people can go and enjoy a glass of wine and listen to live music. And it's so cute. And Russ and Keely, like I said, are the owners. Hayworth Estate Wines kind of came about in 2006. That was when they first planted their vines on the property. So their vineyard is about 10 minutes away from the wine bar downtown Coburg. So everything's right here in Coburg, Oregon. They're really farm to table, and their wines really represent like the roots that they've embedded in this community. They've just been around Coburg for a long time. Like Russ grew up here. So their wines are really representative of that. And then you have this like double E label, and this is Keely. So this is Russ's wife, Keely. She ended up creating this double E label because she loves champagne. She's from the UK, and she's just got a European like flair. So you might notice that too when you go into the tasting room. There's this like nice blend of like Americana meets European style between the lighting and the feather. There's like feathers, and it's wild. So she kind of created this label because she wanted to like make a home for future bubbles that she wanted to produce as part of Hayworth Estate Wines. So this Brut, it's called Accent. Very cheeky, love that. And it's a dry sparkling wine. So this is a nice option for folks. I know we have a lot of sweet wine drinkers in the area, but for those that are looking for a little bubble but without the sweetness, this is a really nice option. And these little tiny bottles are my favorite things to give as gifts. Like during Christmas or even like birthday gifts, pair this with like a bath salt or something. And it's like the perfect little spa gift for somebody, like a wellness gift. And it's like a one 1 glass to 2 glass size. So this is also a great option for those that don't drink as often or just really don't like to drink as often. This is great because it's just like a one and done type thing, and you're not committed to the whole bottle, which is great. So sparkling wine, that's what we're drinking. I think we're gonna get notes of like, it's going to be dry, but it's not going to be like scratch your throat dry. It's going to be, but it's not going to be sweet either. There are some, I think, notes of like stone fruit. So like peaches, or like, there's just like there's a hint or like a whisper of these things. You won't like taste the peach, but this like stone fruit essence is going to live in the taste when you smell it and then you taste it. So I'm really excited to try this. So
yes.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Cheers. Oh, look at your sparkly glass. I love that. Yeah. Right?
Refreshing. I love a good bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can drink this year round. In the summer, it's great. They are actually making a Gamay rosé Brut. So they're going to take their Gamay grapes and make a rosé sparkling out of their Gamay grapes, which is exciting.
Delicious.
Yeah, and that kind of separates sparkling wine from champagne. Champagne, you can't really call it champagne, one, unless it's from the region right outside, right in Champagne, France. Like it has to be from that region. And then it's also, you can't really call it champagne because I think there's like 3 very specific varietals that it has to come from. So that's what's so great about sparkling wine, is that you can make it out of anything. It's just got more options, and you to be creative and to do wild and crazy things with sparkling wine. So I love this. You're right. This is totally refreshing. Love it. Okay. Did you get any stone fruit? What do you think? What do you think about the tasting?
I totally see the peaches thing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that it's not super sweet, you know?
Yeah.
I love a good bubbly, but when it's really sweet, I feel like it goes almost like straight into headache within an hour. But when it's nice and light like this, I know it will be a good afternoon.
Yeah, right. That's so true. Yeah, I can only dig sweet. I like sweet stuff. I love all types of wine, like all of it. Everything from, ports to bubbles. And I have to be like in the mood for a sweet wine, a sweet sparkling wine. So this is really nice because I'm always in the mood for this kind of stuff. Like I will always drink something like this. This is like a classic Brut champagne go-to any time of the year. So yay. Well, thanks for drinking this with me. This is delicious.
Thanks for sharing it with me.
Yeah, anytime. And I will link all Hayworth Estate wines information down in the show notes so that folks can go check them out here in the tasting room, or you can order online. They also have a wine club. If for those of you that are listening to this that may not live here, they do have a wine club and they do ship out of state in the United States. So let's talk about dance. I'm super excited to have you here. You and I have kind of like, the dance community is so like wonderful and hilarious, like at the same time, right? Because I don't know you very well. Like we haven't had an opportunity to work directly together. I feel like we might have been involved in the same shows or like things that are going on around town. We know the same people, and we've been in passing many, many times. So we know who each other are, but I don't really like know you. I've never gotten to like work with you on that capacity, or just spent time with you in that way. So I'm like, I feel super honored that you're here. And this is like our chance to kind of like open that door. So I'm very excited, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Feeling is totally mutual. Like everything you said, I totally feel exactly the same way about. So it's nice to finally connect and talk about something that we both love so much.
Yes, absolutely. So Tell me a little bit about your dance journey. Just briefly, like how did you get started, and then like what led you through your dance career, and then what are you doing now?
Yeah, I've always been dancing, right? Like from in my living room, my parents, when they're gone, I would just rock out,
Yes.
and until I started taking dance classes like early in high school, and then started performing in a couple dance companies my
Mhm.
last couple of years of high school, transitioned into college dance, which I love, but the thing with college dance is usually whatever school it is, they have a base, they have like a foundation. If it's modern or jazz
Mhm.
or contemporary ballet, whatever, there's a base to it.
Yeah.
My base was like jazz, and a lot of it was like street jazz, right? Thank you. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I trained under Cheryl Lemmer. I don't know if you know who she is,
Yeah.
but what an incredible human. And she is the person that like brought out the performer in me for sure. Then I started dancing for Lane Community College's dance company, the foundation, did
Mhm.
that for a while. And then I looked around and I was like, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
So I started my dance company in the fall of 2007, and did that for 15 years.
Yeah.
Really rewarding. Learned so much, experienced so much opportunity, so much love. It was incredible.
I
So
didn't realize that your dance company had been around for so long.
yeah,
Just because
yeah.
I rolled up to Oregon in 2014.
Okay.
So like you started way before my time here. So like that's really awesome that gosh, 15 years of running a dance company in Eugene, Oregon. Like let's
Uh,
put those two things together real fast. Like, wow, that's
throw a
like
pandemic in there as well.
yeah, but the longevity of that in a community like this, which I would say Eugene and Springfield are very supportive of the arts, like or at least they like strive to be. That's definitely not like absent from the community, and I can tell that like the community members like crave it. They love dance and art, and things that bring joy to your life that may be outside of like academics or work or foundational things, or what like society would perceive as foundational things, right?
Right.
So I love that you've been able to manifest and really like keep a running dance company for 15 years in this community. That's like bravo to you.
So, yeah, I mean, passion, right? I
Yeah.
think we both know like dance isn't definitely like paying all the bills, right? Especially in Eugene, Oregon.
Yes.
But you have to follow your heart and your passion always. And that's like been my leading force like through it all. So
That's
sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
So what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? Well, I stopped the dance company in May of last year.
I saw that on social. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
the final. Okay.
it is. I needed a break.
Yeah.
For 15 years, no breaks. Like we never took summer off.
Yeah.
We had like a little bit of winter break and a little bit of spring break, and like that was it. Otherwise, the company was running always, doing like festivals in the summer and working towards shows in the year. Now, like 4 years ago, I started working for an awesome company called StarCycle,
Mhm.
instructing, and then I became a master trainer. Now I'm their director of training. So I travel around to their locations, training their instructors. They also come to our headquarters in Portland. So we're doing a little bit of a hybrid with that.
Okay.
Uh, we just opened our first location in East Coast. We're about to,
Congratulations. That's awesome.
yeah, thank you. We have almost 15 locations now, opening in Denver, which will be cool.
Wow.
So I kind of switched gears, but we're beat driven at StarCycle, right?
Mhm.
It's a party on a bike. It's
Yes.
I
It
call it
really
like,
is. I've been to a class and it's freaking fantastic. Like I went and it was like it was like 5:30 in the morning and I was lit. I was so lit at 5:30 in the morning. I didn't know that lived in me that early in the morning, but it does if you have the right environment, the right instructor, the right music. StarCycle is definitely a special experience. So for those of you that are listening that haven't tried StarCycle, like highly recommend, especially dancers. Dancers would definitely get it like a good equatable like feeling out of that. Like just
Totally. It's fun to play with the choreography too. And like I tell people, like, I know I'm not performing as much or whatever, but like I call this like my Las Vegas residency. I worked so hard and traveled around so much and did all of that. And now I get to go to like one place every day,
Yeah.
and still play around. Like I still have some artistic expression through choreography and stuff
Yes.
to a certain extent while staying within the foundation of what StarCycle is. But the biggest thing I love about it is just like dance is community.
Yeah.
Like it's people like that, it's just something that they want to do, they need to do, they love it. And the community here is very similar to the dance community of just different walks of life coming together and having fun. So
that's awesome.
yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
fun. Well,
That's what I'm doing now.
so the theme of this whole season, just based on like me reflecting on like where I am in my artistry and in my career that may or may not have anything to do with dance, and thinking about the people that I surround myself with, people in my community that may be walking a similar path right now. I was this theme of like finding what dance superpowers have really served you in these roles that may have nothing to do with dance as far as a career goes. I feel like you can find dance in almost anything if you really put your mind to it and if you really think outside the box. But a lot of times our careers, because like you said, dance doesn't often pay the bills. So we as dancers, and I've said this before, like we hustle. We are always hustling. We are always, a lot of times we all have like multiple jobs because we're trying to put it all together to make that annual salary one something at some point. So and we've done that like we do that for a long time, right? Until maybe we get burned out and we are like, I can't keep doing it this way anymore. So let me shift to this one thing. And that one thing may be a little far outside of dance, like the dance that we know and love and that we felt comfortable with as far as like a career or just something that we practice on a regular basis. So let's talk about your dance superpowers. What 3 dance superpowers have really served you in this role, at StarCycle? Because now you're in corporate, like you're not just like teaching at one single studio, like you're involved in corporate that's talking about the whole country and like multiple locations, and you have to consider quite a few things and think more big picture than just like what's going on in one place. So thinking about that, or even just other jobs that I'm sure you've had quite an array of employment along the way, just like every dancer has. So those 3 superpowers, that's what I would love to hear about today.
Interesting. 3 superpowers. I think probably one of the biggest ones is finding ways to work with people productively, right? And respectfully. Because we all know in the dance world, there are so many different personalities, ego, like all of those things, just a big bowl of goodness. I think that's been one of the ones I've definitely like kept in my back pocket, is this being able to work with a lot of different people and different personalities and finding the light in each person that I work with. It's hard sometimes. And so, yeah, I think that's a big one for me. So working with all walks of life, and then confidence, you know what I'm saying? I think being able to perform, to project, to teach, to still be a student. That's like one big thing. Like my teacher said to me growing up, my dance instructor was like, always be a student. And I have put that into my values in work and outside of work, but also try to share that with people. And I just think, but also the confidence to get there, to be that and do that. is
Yeah.
huge. And fake it till you make it. We all get scared. We had stage fright. I still get stage fright whenever I hit the stage.
Yes.
But again, fake it till you make it. Bring out your inner confidence, your inner performer.
Yeah.
Especially in those times when it's really hard, right? Where you don't want to be at work, you don't want to do this presentation, you don't want to teach this class, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Your performer comes out, right? And you're
Yeah,
like,
you have
oh
to.
no, I'm going on stage. I got to give 150%. That's
Yeah.
how I was trained. So
Yeah.
definitely brought that with me. So that would be my second one. And then like probably artistic expression, right?
Yeah.
Being able to look at things maybe in a different way than the routine way of looking at them, right? And trying to bring something new to the table, whatever I do, especially when I teach here and I train people. I want to find different ways to work with people and mix it up and continue to make it fun, educational, and inspiring.
Yeah, like bridging the gap between you and or them and their own artistic abilities that they may or may not know exist. Like, because I mean, how many people probably cross your path, like in the StarCycle context, that you're like, no, you're an artist too. Like you are. And like the way you're going to express yourself on this bike and how you take care of your body, that is your expression. Like that is it right there. So to like say that to somebody and have that light bulb, like, oh my God, like I am an artistic person, even if I just take cycle classes. Like,
for sure. And like that stems back to dance, where like I used to have people come take my class in dance world and they'd be like, I can't dance, like that's not in me. And I'm like, everyone can dance. Can you move your body? Are you moving it? Maybe it might not be to the beat, but you're moving it and you're expressing yourself and hopefully having a good time, letting go and letting whatever flows out of you flow, you know? So reminding people that is so important, I think. So
that was one of my favorite things, like as an instructor, particularly like 18-year-olds, like right in college, that's their freshman year, and they're signing up for this dance activity course in the dance department because they need just the random 1 credit, right? And they've never taken a dance. They're like, this is my chance. This is my chance to do it. I'm terrified because they've never moved their bodies in this way necessarily, or at least in front of other people. Like they might have done it just behind closed doors, but now we're all out in the open and we're going to be weird together. Like it's going to happen. And we're all going to wiggle and we're going to try. And, the reminding them that like one of the first things we did as a human when we came upon this earth was like we had rhythm, and like dancing is actually part of our infancy. Like we do it. And it is within us. It's just like it gets suppressed maybe with some other things along the way as you grow up, depending on how you were raised, where you were raised, what culture you're a part of, like what religion you follow. Like there's so many things that can like kind of like push that forward or backward in someone's life. And it's really nice to be the instructor that can pull that back out and be like, no, it's there. And we're just going to bring that out from the cobwebs, like way back here. And we're going to put it out here in front so that you can feel it. And so that everyone else can experience you as you are as well. So it's
my drop right there. That was awesome.
It's great. I love it. I love everything that you said. These dance superpowers totally resonate with me as well. I'm thinking about your first one, and with like working, I love that you said working with people productively, right? Because there's you can either work with people and like get through it and get to somewhere, right? Or you can like really be productive in how you work. And I'm wondering like, are there any like specific examples or times in your current career maybe that you have experienced this like productive collaboration or had to shift into something like if you're working in StarCycle with somebody from a different state as you were trying to open this East Coast location, like how do we make that a productive collaboration versus like just going through the motion?
I think not only looking at it through your eyes, but looking at it through their eyes, and then from like an aerial view perspective of what's going on.
Yeah.
And again, like not sticking into the box of how you think something should be run or done, but how it works well for that person while staying within the lines, right?
Yeah.
I think the lines are always blurred in everything in life. Let's be real.
They
So for the most part, there's some things, but yeah, so we have this wiggle room to see what works for that human instead of thinking only what you think works, right? And so when you're working with someone and it's collaborative, like you want their input just as much as you want to give yours. And that's sometimes what makes magic even more fabulous, when you have all these different people adding in a little ingredients to make something super fabulous. I think there has to be humility. You have to humble yourself also and know that like, even if you're the teacher, you can always learn as well and grow that way.
Right.
And so I think with working with people, you have to look at it from not only your perspective, theirs, and the outside, and put it all together when you're giving feedback or when you're working with someone just in general.
Yeah.
No,
totally. No, it does. I like like productive collaboration from your experiences. Like it's not just looking through your lens, it's also taking in consideration other people's like personal lens. And then you're also thinking about the 50-foot picture of what needs to be accomplished. So you're actually like multitasking in quite a few ways. Like that is productive collaboration, is being able to multitask. So there's like a layer in there of a superpower.
The answer's mind, right? We gotta do this, that, all these things, you know,
all the time. We're good at that. That's one of my superpowers that I think has served me the most, is this like ability to multitask and to fake it till I make it while I'm doing it. Because you can't like lose your cool on stage if something goes wrong, or while 3 other things are happening that were unplanned. You're like, okay, and the show will go on, but we're gonna figure it out as we go. We're gonna one of the phrases that my colleagues and I use at work a lot is we're gonna build the plane while we fly it, because that's just what we have to do.
Oh, I love that.
And because we have to keep going, like we can't just stop. It's okay. I think it's valuable to pause and like take note, and like there is value in that, and sometimes that's really necessary. But I think the life that we're used to living as dancers and, you know, with professional careers, like you have to keep moving because you'll get left behind otherwise. So like, how do you continue to move through, work with people in a very productive manner so that you can continue that motion forward versus like really stagnant and feeling stuck all the time? Because that sucks. Like you don't want to feel that way.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. When have you had to use confidence? Like when have you really had to dig for that dance confidence, that stage presence, in a career that was outside of dance? Like, have you ever had to do anything that had nothing to do with dance, where you've had to like use that digging to like really show up for yourself so that you can accomplish this task at hand?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I think there's been a few examples. I think at my job, like speaking to a group of humans that are like all owners of a location, and they've got their stuff together, right?
Yeah.
And I have to like really sound like I have my stuff together. It's almost, I mean, as a dancer, I don't look at that as a presentation. I look at it as a performance, right?
Yes.
Like I've got to have all my stuff, my verbal choreography, right?
Oh my God. You do the same thing I do. Like I turn like my agenda. I'm like, this is my cue sheet for my stuff. Like, this is my cue sheet. Okay. This is my lighting sheet. Where's my stage manager in this room? Like I start like making people like these characters. It's weird, but I'm so glad I'm not the only one that does that.
Yeah, no, totally. And like, also like during the pandemic, when we were filming on demand, I'm in a room with like these huge light walls when our ride is in the dark, candle lit, with
Right. Yeah.
a room full of humans screaming, hooting, and hollering. And you have to perform to like people sitting in a chair staring at you and a camera and these light walls. It's a lot. And that's where I had to like turn on my, okay, like we're in the studio, my dance teacher's watching me, and I have to dance this dance like I'm doing it for a sold out venue, right?
Yes.
So it's like you have to like turn it on.
I
And
feel like dance instructors and like fitness instructors, whoever had to go virtual and do something that you would normally do with bodies in space, like and being physical with bodies in space, they like everyone should put actor on your resume too, because you have done it. Like that is what you had to learn to do very quickly. You had to learn how to sell and perform through a camera lens now, like not even just connecting to people in an audience that are present with you. Now you had to take it to another level and do it like through a camera, and you had no idea who was going to watch it, but you were like, we will connect because this is the performance that I'm giving. So like everybody deserves to put actor on their resume now. If you were like in fitness or like dance instruction or anything like physical that you had to pivot to like a virtual platform, good God, that was so difficult. It's so difficult to do.
it is. I mean, I didn't even know how to do this.
Right?
Can we be real? I mean, let's be real. Like, I had no idea how to set any of this up, or
Right.
you know, and now it's like boop, boop, boop. So we learned
Crazy.
something from it, right?
Yes. No, we totally learned something from it.
Many things.
I love it. Have you ever had like a student in one of your cycle classes or someone from StarCycle like corporate or some like have you ever had an experience where you've received feedback that they've like found their inner expression through coming to your class, or like did they go into something like dance because they took your class first and they were like, oh, I'm into this, and like kind of went into that direction? Has that ever happened to you?
It has. A lot of things happen in that studio. I like to call it like therapy. I like to call it a lot of things, but also one of our like slogans for it is like meditation in motion. So we work a lot and like find passion within that. So I've heard a lot of stories from people either feeling inspired or working through a lot of like trauma or stress, you know, that we all have. So I've heard it all, but I also get a lot of people, yes, that ask like, I hear you're a dancer, like when we take this party out to the dance studio now, you know? And so yeah, I'm always sending people to dance studios here in Eugene and recommending places to go, since I'm not really teaching a lot right now.
Yeah.
But right. But like, yeah, again, it's beat driven. Like people want to keep the party going. And the moment they find out I'm a dancer, they're like, oh, okay. Like it all kind of makes sense now. So
the same thing happens to me, like even in my regular job, like if I do a presentation or I like speak during a meeting or something, like, and even just the way I speak with my, like, I'm very physical with the way I speak. And I feel like it helps me. And it helps, like, I don't know, it just brings good energy and I can't really help it. It's just who I am. But that happens to me too. Like as soon as I'm like, well, I'm a professional dancer too. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, hello. So that happened. That's really cool that you've like kind of guided people to dance and like these other ways of expressing themselves, or at least like piquing that interest just by like taking, it sounds so simple, just by taking a cycling class and by teaching a cycling class. Like you're doing so much more than that. And I mean, you can tell what that just one about who you are. Like I can just tell that through the screen here and in the way that you speak. But then also like based on like you're now working for corporate, like what you're doing is making a difference, and that company wants you to be a part of that difference and to continue making those changes. So that's awesome. And I love that for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think even like as much as with dance and getting people to love dance, I think my number one mission in the dance world as a dance instructor and growing up in that world, is getting people to love their bodies,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's probably my number one mission always in everything that I do. Because we don't enough, and the dance world especially is harsh, and it's gotten a lot better now,
Mhm.
but back then, but
It
you know
was
what I
though,
mean?
like even just 10 years ago, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
20 years ago. I mean, things were different when I was in the studio training as a child. Like, oh my God, I think about that often and I'm like, I feel like I have some trauma that I haven't worked out yet with that because you just don't realize it as it's happening to you. But thinking back, it made me a better teacher because I was like, I never want to make my students feel a certain way about who they are. They can't help that. That's who they
Totally.
are, and that's their body. That's what they like. I have to accept all of them, just like they are accepting all of me.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love that that's like your number one goal. And I think it's really great that you can carry that into like a corporate world. Because, you know, the system and how things are like set up always starts from the top. So if you can set the right tone from the top, it will trickle down. And if you start up there saying like, we just come here and we love our bodies and we're just going to express ourselves in whatever way that is, and we accept everyone here, it will trickle down even to the single instructor in the smallest town StarCycle location,
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we've integrated it into the training. So like when I train instructors, like we talk about body positivity, that this ride is for anybody,
Yes.
and that we want to encourage people to love the humans that they are today, and that's as fellow dancers, I think we both know that's a hard one. Like, yes, we can go on there and we can put on this show, but when we leave the stage, we do feel a different way. We're very vulnerable, most dancers are, and we feel a lot. And that can be super high highs, but also super low lows. There's
Yeah.
a very big difference from going on stage and then leaving that and going home to like quiet, So yeah, just finding the happiness is my goal for everyone,
I love it. I love it. Well, and it's bringing you success, and I think it will bring you success as you continue your journey, through StarCycle and then through dance, because it's not really over, right? Like your company, maybe that's a little like you've kind of just like dismembered that. So you're just not directing it, right? But you're still dancing and you'll find ways to still make your art and be who you are and express yourself. So it'll continue. And I look forward to eventually like making that connection with you in the artistic capacity here in this community. It'll happen at some point when the right time hits and the right gig shows up and whatnot. But thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate the conversation.
I had so much fun with you and just chatting about stuff in life and all of that. So
yeah, no, it's really awesome. And this was delicious, our little bubbles. So cheers. I will put all of the information you need to know about this episode down in the show notes. And once again, I will link all of the contact for Nate as well, so you can follow Nate on social media. And until next time, I'm Lindsay Jean. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.